Charlie Leonard. I've been a resident of Miami Springs since 1985. Been a real estate agent and broker since 1983. And the most important thing is I enjoy my city, I love my city, and I love my job.
And?
I'm Sean Pascale. I'm a sales associate and Charlie Leonard's son-in-law. I just moved into the Springs 8 months ago. I've been rehabbing my property here and just kind of discovered it with Charlie. Been doing real estate with the Leonard Real Estate Group for about 3.5 years now, and also love Miami Springs, love the city, and happy to be talking about it.
Well, welcome to the neighborhood. We love to have you here, and obviously thank you for being a part of the community for so long. And obviously you guys have done a great job over a lengthy career here in Miami Springs. So you mentioned you were with in real estate since the early 80s. When did you start Leonard Real Estate?
I started Leonard Real Estate in February of 2011. So we've been around, you know, on my own for the last 7 years.
Fantastic. So obviously, you know, real estate is hot right now in Miami, in pretty much all of Florida. It's hot again, but we're seeing a lot of action here in South Florida, Miami Springs. Folks who may have been underwater are now, you know, it's all of a sudden values are going way up, and even the rentals are getting tight. So can you tell us a little bit of what kind of trends you see that are going on here in Miami Springs in apartment listings as well as residential real estate?
Well, definitely values have been going up, and you can see that with a lot of home remodeling. So people are using that money to remodel their homes. Other people are taking advantage of the higher prices and selling, and also buying because the interest rates have been, you know, historically low, and right now they're about 4.5%, which is still very good compared to other times.
Do you see any pressure right now because of interest rates, but somewhat interest rates are starting to tweak up a little bit? Is there pressure right now for someone who's interested to buy to kind of speed it up, get that loan locked down, and maybe buy now before interest rates go up higher or inflation sneaking on us? Or what do you think about that?
Well, you're seeing that, but I think that the most important aspect that I see happening is the low inventory, especially for entry-level homes. So that's where you really see the pressure. You know, younger families that can afford less, trying to find that right home in Miami Springs that is in the right condition, because not everybody wants to rehab a home, and everyone knows in Miami Springs that a lot of the homes are older and they need, you know, rehabbing or updating. But that's where I see the most pressure, the low inventory that's causing, you know, a lot of competition among buyers to buy that house, and also sellers, you know, that want to put their house on the market and hopefully get it sold, you know, quickly.
Because I just was working with a client who was trying to decide whether to buy now or to wait another year and buy later. And they were looking at the, you know, what the rise in the interest rates would be over that year, and they really had to weigh that decision because it was going to be a huge increase in what they would have to pay for that loan. So it does make a difference. If you're looking to buy now and you can, your money's going to go further trying to buy now because the interest rates are going to be lower than they will be in a year from now. So it does make a difference.
Excellent.
And Nestor, you also asked about the rental markets.
Yes.
The rental market in Miami Springs is very tight. Very few properties are for rent, and when they do get on the market, they tend to go pretty quickly. Oh. You find very few apartments listed. Now, when I say listed, I'm talking about with the MLS. There's a lot of, there are other properties that are for sale or available directly through an owner that do not show up in the real estate MLS.
Right.
But if you look at the MLS, there's very few, you know, rental properties that show up.
So right now on the MLS, there's not a whole lot of listings.
There's not a whole lot of listings for rental apartments, or a whole lot of listing for apartments for sale. There's one that just came out on Swallow Drive that just came out in the market a couple days ago. But when you look at single family homes, this is a weekly market report that I put together. I do this every week, so if anyone's interested in receiving, all they have to do is send us an email and we'll be happy to send it to them. But last week, ending on Friday, there were 39 houses that were actually for sale in Miami Springs and Virginia Gardens. 25 had closed within the last 90 days, and there were only 12 pending sales. And then you can see the averages here, what the average sale price was, average square feet of the houses were, and the average per square feet on listed properties, sold properties, and active or pending sale properties.
And you said this is over the last week or so?
This was over the last week. This was from May 11th through May 19th.
So the average price sold or closed?
The average price closed was 388. I'm sorry, 415, 440.
Wow, that's pretty significant. That's for an 1,800 square foot home.
But that's for approximately 1,800 square foot home, and they sold for approximately $243 per square feet.
Wow, that's pretty significant compared to where they have been.
Yeah.
What you'll find for that price per square foot is that the smaller the house, actually, the higher that price per square foot is going to be. So you're looking at 1,200, 1,300 square foot homes, which you'll find a lot of those in Miami Springs. That price per square foot, if it's relatively updated, and even if it's not, and sometimes, is actually going to be higher than a larger 2,000 square foot home.
Yeah, we're talking about in terms of kind of where the market's at. For someone who is interested in moving into Miami Springs, whether they're interested in maybe a rental or maybe buying, what kind of tips and recommendations do you have for someone who's interested in becoming part of the Miami Springs community?
Okay, if you're a buyer, the first piece of advice that I would tell them is meet with a broker and make sure that your financing is in place. When I say financing in place, meaning that you have all your ducks lined up in a row, someone has really vetted you, not just someone that gives you a pre-qualification letter, but someone that looked at your tax return, looked at your credit, looked at your employment, looked at your ratios of debt to income to make sure you're ready, because when you do find that house, you want to be able to go in ready to win, not start the process and find out that maybe the house you really like you couldn't get or you couldn't afford and you wasted your time.
So more than just pre-qualified, you're saying get an in-depth review and a complete application with a loan, with a bank or
well, not a complete application, because you can't really do that until you have a contract.
Okay.
But someone that really looked at your tax return.
Okay.
For instance, you have a lot of people that are buying that are self-employed. So when you look at your tax return, maybe they've declared certain losses that you can actually, if a real underwriter looks at it or a real mortgage broker, realize that you can add that back in as part of your income to help you qualify. Because when you file your returns as a self-employed person, you want to show losses, but you want to be able to show income when you want to buy.
Excellent point.
Pretty low. There's not a tremendous amount. I think there's maybe 37 or 38 listings.
Yes.
And of those 37 or 38, not all of them are going to be perfect for a particular buyer. So you might have 10 or 11 homes per buyer that will meet their needs. So a buyer here in Miami Springs, they have to have their finger on the trigger, ready to actually make an offer. This isn't the market where buyers can see a property and like it and think to themselves, let me take a few days to really consider it. It's the type of market where there are 10 other buyers out there who are looking for great potential. So that's tip number one, is keep your finger on the trigger. Number two is don't be scared of a little rehab, because there's a lot of properties here in Miami Springs who, the floors might not be perfect, or there might be a little bit of damage here and there, but the value here is tremendous. So if you can get a bit of a deal and have to put another $5 grand or 10 grand into the house, you're probably going to get that money back over the course of the time that you stay there.
Excellent. And when someone does want to sell, what do you recommend to a seller here in Miami Springs?
Well, there's a couple of things, but some basic thing is try to give your house as much curb appeal as you can, because the saying is don't judge a book by its cover, but unfortunately a lot of buyers do, and it's hard to get them in the house when they just drive up and they don't like what they see. So try to clean up as much as you can the curb appeal, and also declutter the house as much as you can inside. That way the rooms look bigger, the closet looks bigger, and keep it as plain as you can. That way the buyer can use their imagination on how they can see themselves living in that house, instead of being, already influenced by the way the seller has it. So try to minimize that as much as you can. So Sean, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
From the seller's perspective, all the things that you said are perfect, but also you have to look at the houses that have sold in the area, and you have to price your home accordingly. So if you've done a huge amount of rehab to your house, look at another house that's similar, hire a broker and make sure that they will do a complete market analysis on your house, and then have realistic expectations of what the house is going to sell for. Because right now, if you're putting it $50,000 over, it's going to sit on the market for half a year, and by that time, all the buyers that were looking at it will be gone. So there's a golden time that you really want to capture that audience.
It's a great point. You talked a little bit, kind of hinting in terms of staging a house when you're selling it, and you said kind of keep it kind of plain to allow the prospective buyer to imagine how they want the house. Can you dive into that a little bit more? I know different people have different ideas on how to stage a home, and some people want to large, some people want to just, I want furniture in there so it looks like it's got stuff inside.
Right.
And I hear different things from people, and I'd really like to get a professional opinion on that.
Well, you hear different things because different things work and different things don't work. So it just depends on the house. Some houses show very well empty, and the buyer can come in and they can see the space. Other houses need a little help, so if the house is empty, we use virtual staging, to help buyers kind of see what the potential is. But every house is different, we gotta walk in and we gotta see it, but a basic rule is declutter. A lot of times sellers have just too many things in the house, which, if you've lived in a house for a long time, you collect a lot of stuff.
Right.
So try to declutter as much as you can, and less clutter.
Another trick is to, when you're actually on the market and you're ready to sell, is to remove some personal photographs and things like that, because you want buyers to come in and imagine themselves in that spot. So, taking down, family portraits when you're ready to move, pack them up and get them ready, and just have it as a clean slate. White walls, clean tables, and as minimal family portraits and pictures and stuff like that lying around.
Great point. Great point. All right, so I think you guys have given us some great tips for prospective buyers, prospective sellers. Anything else that you think that the Miami Springs audience should know about real estate here in Miami Springs? You guys like to touch upon?
It's a great market. Obviously, it's a great location. It's very desirable, and what we're seeing is more and more people are discovering it. And what's really, what I really enjoy is being able to see, younger generations coming in, raising their kids just like I raised my daughters here. So it's fun to see them, buying with that, dream of raising their kids. It has great nature all over the place, a lot of green space, a lot of bike paths. So it's just a very safe, centrally located community that you could still, feel that small time, community. And you're seeing more and more, restaurants coming in, coffee shops, where people really don't have to leave the Springs that much anymore.
As a millennial, as somebody new who just moved in, and somebody who just went through the process of trying to find a neighborhood for a small family, there is no other neighborhood that is going to give you as much bang for your buck as Miami Springs will. It is by far the safest neighborhood. There's a big green triangle when you look at the crime map. The property lines are big, so you're going to get a lot, you're going to get a yard, and there's equity to be built in a lot of these houses. So as somebody looking at it from a financial perspective, you can buy a bit of an older house, put a little money into it, and you know that your investment is going to be safe. So Miami Springs really is, if you're looking at under 500,000, even under 400,000, there's no other neighborhood that's going to give you what Miami Springs will.
Tell us a little bit about some of the ways you market a little different than some other folks here in Miami Springs.
Sure. So one thing that we do is we do a lot of drone work in the city. You can see we've done the recreation center, we've taken shots of the aquatic center, the circle, and all of our properties get drone footage as well. I'm an FAA certified, commercially certified drone pilot, so we do all of our drone work in-house, and we're also able to go anywhere in Miami Springs. You have to be able to...
That's a big deal, because I have a drone and I try to fly by the golf course, and all of a sudden I'm getting, can't fly it, and I go, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Stop right there.
So yeah, it actually won't take off. So explain, the importance of being a drone pilot. because of our
our location,
and near the airport.
Yeah, so if you are a drone, if you fly a drone, you cannot fly anywhere near the airport unless you have certain qualifications. So I had to apply for something called a waiver and go through DJI in order to start the process of being able to fly near the airport. It was a long process, it was about 8 or 9 months, and until then I can only fly very far north in Miami Springs area. But now that I've become commercially certified and I do have that waiver, my drone is sort of unlocked, so to speak. So they trust me because I've taken the course and I've done the waiver to actually fly near the airport. But for residential flyers or anybody that's messing around with a drone, please be very careful because you might not have that built into your drone, but if you are flying there, the FAA will come and seek you if they find out.
What's the best way for them to reach Leonard Real Estate Group?
Well, they can call me directly. The office number is my cell phone number, so it's easy to get a hold of me. 305-726-8416. You can also go to our webpage, LeonardRealEstateGroup.com, and you can also reach out to Sean.
Sean, what's the best way to reach you?
You can contact me by cell, 786-205-0187, or email me, sean.e.pascale@gmail.com, and let us know if you have any questions or comments.
Excellent. Guys, I really appreciate you inviting MiamiSprings.com into your offices, and we hope the audience enjoys this video and learns a couple of tips for real estate in the market. Thank you guys so much.
Listen, we're not perfect, but we work hard and we love what we do.
Okay, we're here with Charlie and Sean from Leonard Real Estate Group. Hi Charlie, I believe this is, I understand, one of your properties?
This is one of our listings. This is a house that almost everyone in Miami Springs knows about. It's been vacant for over, I don't know that I'm aware of, at least 35 years.
Wow.
But we do have it under contract. It's a beautiful 2.5 baths, 3-car garage in the back. And it's a very interesting house, well built, facing the golf course, but we can take a look inside.
Fantastic.
You have original terrazzo floors that were restored. You have 10 and 11 foot ceilings throughout.
Oh, nice pictures.
Those are during different times of the house. And these are the original blueprints. Is new, all the plumbing is new, copper plumbing.